It's Wednesday, August 10th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN network. Also part of the show today on Facebook Live, bringing you the latest Connecticut news, including a veteran dispatcher's death in Stratford, a burglar nabbed in Shelton, local primary results, as well as beavers on the attack in a Connecticut river. Frank Granito will give us a look at the forecast and a Nutmeg sports update, and later on, Donald Lang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, in an update on a story we brought you earlier this week, a veteran Stratford dispatcher died after her car crashed early Monday morning on Paradise Green. Stratford Police Deputy Chief John Popick said that 35-year-old Laura Price of Seymour was heading north on Main Street in her vehicle at about 12:05 a.m. Monday when the car crossed into the southbound lane near Fenelon Place. Popick said the vehicle left the roadway and struck a tree. Price was taken to Bridgeport Hospital and died a short time later from injuries sustained in that crash. Popick said the investigation into the crash will take several weeks before it's completed, and they're exploring all possibilities that may have contributed to the cause of that crash. Price was a Stratford emergency dispatcher for 8 years. Prior to that, she served with the Shelton Fire Department. And Fairfield police arrested a Reading resident, 55-year-old Harry Metz of Gallows Hill Road this week for inappropriately touching a 14-year-old girl at Fairfield's 4th of July fireworks show on July 2nd. As we previously reported, police said during the fireworks, Metz approached the 14-year-old female in the parking lot and attempted to engage the juvenile in a conversation, at which time he identified himself as Hank. During that brief encounter, the subject touched the juvenile in an inappropriate way and then left the parking lot. A second juvenile was able to take a photograph of the suspect. Fairfield police published that photograph taken and spread it to the media throughout the state. Metz was then identified as a suspect through those steps, according to police, and he turned himself in to Fairfield police on Monday. He was charged with 4th-degree sexual assault and risk of injury to a minor. He was given a court date of August 17th. And Shelton police say an alert homeowner helped police nab a burglar. On Monday afternoon, police arrested 54-year-old John Rotz after they were contacted by a homeowner who reported a male walked onto the property, entered a detached garage, and drove off with a dirt bike which was inside. Officers located a scooter that was parked down the street from the reported burglary, and officers on the scene investigating when Rotz returned to claim the scooter. Police linked Rotz to the burglary and quickly recovered that stolen dirt bike, which had been hidden in the woods. Rotz posted a $5,000 bond and was scheduled to appear in court on August 18th. And in yesterday's primary races, most incumbents fended off their challengers, including locally. State Representative Jason Perillo of Shelton's 113th district won by a large margin, fending off challenger Ruth Parkins, who had the support of Mayor Mark Loretti. Incumbent State Senator Ed Gomes will be on the ballot for the general election in November after holding off his challenger for the Democratic nomination for the 22nd Senatorial District. Gomes won the right to be on the Democratic line for the 23rd District seat by defeating party favorite Dennis Bradley. And incumbent Democratic State Senator Marilyn Moore easily defeated Bridgeport City Council President Tom McCarthy in the 22nd District Party primary Tuesday. Despite being the incumbent, Moore was technically the challenger, as party officials had backed McCarthy in the district caucus, leading Moore to launch the primary challenge. And the Republican voters of Ridgefield, Reading, Newtown, and Bethel elected Daniel O'Grady as their probate judge. He'll face Democrat Sharon Dornfeld in the upcoming election. But we're going to break down more primary results on today's CT Pulse that starts at 12:30 today. And a fire Tuesday afternoon in Monroe damaged the exterior of a home. According to Monroe Volunteer Fire Department, the fire happened around 2:30 in the afternoon at 601 Main Street. The fire, which was limited to the exterior of the building, was extinguished after arriving police officers used extinguishers and firefighters used one attack hose line. Fortunately, the fire did not spread inside and no one was hurt. Overall was performed on that fire for about 30 minutes. And Darien police are investigating the theft of $240 worth of lottery tickets from Darien Exxon on August 2nd. Workers at the gas station contacted police just after 3 in the afternoon to report that a man had taken the tickets and then fled the store. The suspect was described as a white male standing about 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighing about 240 pounds with tattoos on both forearms. He fled the scene in a 4-door Honda sedan and was accompanied by a passenger. More than 40 5-times money brand tickets were stolen. Those are valued at $5 each. While reporting those stolen tickets to the Connecticut Lottery Bureau, police were informed that similar suspects had repeated that crime in Bethel, Trumbull, Norwalk, Westport, and Weston on the same day. The lottery tickets stolen were reportedly cashed in for $100 at the Darien Golf Station on the Post Road. And Shelton police arrested 2 men on drug charges Tuesday in the downtown area, and they say an illegally parked work van helped. Police say that at about 5:20, an undercover detective spotted 25-year-old Joshua Sanchez of Shelton trying to drive out of an apartment building. However, Sanchez could not make his way around an illegally parked work van. Sanchez was wanted in Ansonia for another crime, according to police. The undercover officer then watched Sanchez walk up to the unidentified van, apparently looking for who had parked it there. Sanchez was then observed speaking to another man in a vehicle. Officers stopped Sanchez and took him into custody because of that outstanding warrant, and they found an unspecified amount of heroin and crack in his car. Police say that 26-year-old Justin Geffert of Shelton had just purchased heroin from Sanchez. Geffert was also taken into custody. He was charged with possession of narcotics and possession of drug paraphernalia. But we are going to switch gears now and throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast.
Thank you, Kate. A little gloomy outside today, mostly cloudy with chances of showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon and into the early evening. A high of 84 and expected to be much more humid than it was at the start of the week. Chances of thunderstorms continue overnight, and we'll have a high of 75 degrees heading into Thursday. We might see a little bit of sun early in the day tomorrow, but it looks like it will be mostly cloudy with chances of scattered showers and thunderstorms again. An expected high of 88 degrees, but it'll feel a lot closer to 100 with the humidity being very high again, and it'll cool off a little later in the day and evening, clearing up overnight. Friday looks like it'll be the hottest day of the week, though, an expected high of 92 degrees, and it'll really feel almost like 105 out there with humidity right around 80%. Partly cloudy during the day with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm in parts of Fairfield County, but we should see clear skies on Friday night heading into Saturday, but it doesn't look like the heat is going to break over the weekend. Kate, back to you. All
right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Dang takes a look back on this day in history. Frank has a Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have a lot more local news coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Czaplinski
and Josh Fisher
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to your Wednesday, August 10th edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. It's time to throw it over to Donald Lang to take a look back on this day in history. Don, sorry, we have a lot going on in the studio today. I can barely talk.
There are. It's quite exciting back here. But you know, your mom probably told you that if you do something wrong, just say you're sorry. And yet, people so rarely do it. Well, on this date, someone did. Anyway, we go to 1519. Ferdinand Magellan's 5 ships set sail from Seville to circumnavigate the globe. Unlike, say, Christopher Columbus, Magellan was an excellent navigator and plotted an accurate course through some of the most treacherous waters in the world. He actually didn't make it back, but one of his ships did. See, Magellan, a devout Catholic, had died in 1521 in the Philippines in a murder-for-hire plot. Seriously, tribal leader Raja Hamaban agreed to convert to Christianity, then convinced Magellan to kill rival clan leader Lapu-Lapu. In the ensuing battle, Magellan would be speared, then clubbed to death, but despite not completing his voyage, his name has since become attached to numerous navigational tools, including GPS units, and the Magellan space probe, which on this day in 1990 reached Venus. To 1793, the Musée du Louvre opens in Paris with a display of 537 paintings. When Louis XIV changed his residence to Versailles, the Louvre Palace in Paris was essentially little more than storage for the royal collections. The Louvre has since grown to the second most visited museum in the world, with more than 9 million annual visitors. To 1984, the action thriller Red Dawn opens as the first movie released with a PG-13 rating. The new rating had actually been instituted just 3 months earlier after the movie Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom had been released with a PG rating, and parents who took their children to see it were outraged at some of the movie's violence, including a graphic human sacrifice. Spielberg himself agreed that the movie illustrated that too large a gap existed between the PG and R ratings. He suggested PG-14 actually. The Motion Picture Association went with PG-13. Finally, now we go to 1988 for this.
Legislation that I am about to sign provides for a restitution payment to each of the 60,000 survivors, surviving Japanese Americans, of the 120,000 who were relocated or detained. Yet no payment can make up for those lost years. So what is most important in this bill has less to do with property than with honor. For here we admit a wrong. Here we reaffirm our commitment as a nation to equal justice under the law. Thank you all again, and God bless you all. I think this is a fine day.
That was Ronald Reagan signing the Civil Rights Act of 1988, granting reparations to Japanese Americans who had been interred by the U.S. government during World War II. The act granted each surviving internee about $20,000 in compensation, with payments commencing in 1990. The legislation he signed stated that government actions were based on race prejudice, war hysteria, and a failure of political leadership. About 82,219 people would eventually receive redress checks. That is your look back in history for today, August 10th, and I'm Donald Lang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. We're getting back to a little more news today. The company Altice USA, which now owns Optimum, has announced that it will be shutting down its Shelton and Stratford call centers, resulting in nearly 600 employee layoffs. Altice acquired Cablevision for $17.7 billion earlier this year and said the reason for the office closing and layoffs is advancements in technology have resulted in a decrease in call volume from customers. It has been reported that those calls will now be handled by facilities in the Bronx, Long Island, and New Jersey. The employees will be able to keep their jobs through November, according to the company's spokesman. Employees will be offered severance and outplacement support. But let's throw it back now to Frank Granito for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Down to the Cal Ripken World Series in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. The host team, Palm Beach Gardens, has defeated Norwalk 11-6 in the final game of pool play on Tuesday afternoon. With the win, Palm Beach Garden clinched the number 2 seed in the American pool, while Norwalk was relegated to the number 3 seed. Norwalk will now play Ohio Valley champions from East Lake, Indiana, the number 2 seed in the national pool, tonight at 7:30 p.m. The winner of that game will go on to play the American Pool region Poughkeepsie, New York, who beat Norwalk 14-3 in their first game of the tournament. They earned the number 1 seed in the American pool and gained a bye along with it. Coming back up north in Bristol, Connecticut at the Little League New England Regional Tournament, faced with elimination after losing its opening game, the Fairfield American team staved off elimination, staying alive to set up a rematch with New Hampshire on Sunday night, thanks to an 8-2 victory over Scarborough, Maine. Fairfield American, who lost in its opening game, will now play Bedford again on Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock in a loser's bracket game. The winner of that will continue on and play in the semifinals. New Hampshire earlier lost to Wellesley, Massachusetts 10-0 on Monday night, but rallied to defeat Vermont 10-3 on Tuesday afternoon. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's go back to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Getting back to some more local news, the Darien Board of Selectmen has voted in favor of adopting body cameras for the police department, reversing a decision not to pursue the technology during this year's budget process. Police Chief Dwayne Lavello said recent events in town and the national climate regarding law enforcement motivated a second request for the body camera program. Last month, a video shared by a Bridgeport resident accusing Darien police of racially profiling garnered thousands of views. Authorities in town said they stopped the man as part of a neighborhood canvass following a burglary in the area. In another case, a Darien officer's interaction with a driver during a traffic stop was interrupted and recorded by an uninvolved woman who told police she wanted to ensure the driver's safety. The selectmen unanimously approved an appropriation of over $87,000 to fund the first year of the program. Additional approvals are required from the Board of Finance and the representative town meeting to move forward, but you can get more information at DarienTimes.com. And swimmers and boaters are being warned to stay out of the waters of the Quinnebog River in the vicinity of Route 101 bridge on the Pomfret-Killingly town line after 2 people suffered injuries there Monday evening when they were apparently attacked by a beaver. Department of Energy and Environmental Protection ENCON police say a Danielson man and woman were swimming in the water there just before 7 in the evening when they were bitten by an animal that appeared to be a beaver. The 20-year-old man and the 19-year-old woman made their way to Day Kimball Hospital in Putnam, where they both received stitches for those wounds. ENCON police launched a search for the animal. They did encounter a beaver exhibiting aggressive behavior near the bridge on Route 101, but they were unable to capture the animal. ENCON police say that beavers do not appear to be making their home in the immediate area where the attack took place, but they did say there was a beaver den and also some beavers denning in the bank of the river, somewhat to the south of that location. And in other news, Governor Dannel Malloy announced the launch of a new emergency preparedness mobile app for Connecticut residents that provides information and alerts in emergency situations and also helps residents prepare in advance of an emergency. The CT Prepares app, which can be downloaded to most smartphones, incorporates and integrates text messaging, email, social networking, and allowing residents to communicate with family members during an emergency. Real-time notifications, including emergency news, state office closing, and public safety messages can be sent directly to the device, providing up-to-the-minute information for residents. A few other features of the app include sending an I'm safe message to contacts, viewing current and extended National Weather Service forecasts, accessing Connecticut's Emergency Management Agency news and events, and a lot more. That app can be downloaded for free from the iTunes Apple Store for Apple devices and Google Play for Android devices. And in New Canaan, a scheduled August 9th public auction of a 2007 Bentley automobile was canceled when the finance company that held its title paid the $20,000 storage fees due and sent a representative to pick up that car, which is valued at about $60,000. According to the New Canaan Advertiser, no one was upset with that because no one came to bid on the car at the New Canaan Auto Body, according to Santo Silvestro, who was holding the auction. And finally, it appears Ridgefield's dog and pony has slipped out in the middle of the night. The American casual dining establishment located on Ridgefield's historic Main Street was not open yesterday, and there were no signs hung in the store's window to insinuate that they will be reopening or that the closure is only temporary. The restaurant's outdoor furniture remains in place. The inside tables look to be prepared for service with utensils and napkins set out. While it's possible that the dining staff, in a hurry to head out for a few days of vacation, forgot to put up a sign, the buzz from residents on social media is that Dog and Pony will inevitably be joining a long list of empty storefronts on Main Street. But for updates on that story, check the ridgefieldpress.com. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following on your coffee break after this. For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. New Canaan is 6 minutes down the road. New Canaan's a beautiful little town to walk around. I work in Westport. My commute is 20 minutes. It's close to Westchester where my family is, so the location is ideal. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
At Cabbage Patch Nursery School in Ridgefield, playtime is learning time. Using out-of-the-box activities and programs in science, dance, Spanish, Taekwondo, and so much more, learning is made fun. Aside from interactive classrooms, our center features a sensory room, computer lab, and a large outdoor space for playtime fun. Our carefully chosen staff believe in a supportive, safe environment and keeping you updated on your little one's experience. Cabbage Patch Ridgefield, helping shape your child's future. 29 Farrar Lane in Ridgefield. Call 203-340-1250 to register today.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
I'm Frank Granito.
And I'm Donald Ing for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday, where we bring you all the top stories for Connecticut sports.
From players and coaches' interviews to expert opinions with local sports editors, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
Today's coffee break is brought to you by World Heritage, a student exchange program helping local families make an overseas friend for life. Make this year the most exciting, enriching year ever for you and your family. Welcome a high school student ages 15 to 18 from Italy, France, Norway, Denmark, Spain, Germany, Brazil, Thailand, or China as part of your family for a school year. You can choose hosting a student for 3, 5, or 10 months. Call Allison at 203-815-5881 or call toll-free at 1-800-888-9040. You can find out more about all the positive experiences of students and host families at whosts.com. We're back on this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories that we're following today, including an update on a story we brought you earlier this week. A veteran Stratford dispatcher died after her car crashed early Monday morning at Paradise Green. Stratford Police Deputy Chief John Popick said that 35-year-old Laura Price of Seymour was heading north on Main Street in her vehicle at about 12:05 in the morning Monday when the car crossed into the southbound lane near Fenelon Place. Popick said the vehicle left the roadway and struck a tree. Price was taken to Bridgeport Hospital and died a short time later. Popick said the investigation into the crash will take several weeks, and they're exploring all possibilities that may have contributed to the cause of it. Price was a Stratford emergency dispatcher for 8 years. Prior to that, she served with the Shelton Fire Department. And Fairfield police arrested a Reading resident, 55-year-old Harry Metz of Gallows Hill Road this week for inappropriately touching a 14-year-old girl at Fairfield's 4th of July fireworks show back on July 2nd. As we previously reported, police said that during the fireworks, Metz approached the 14-year-old female in the parking lot and attempted to engage the juvenile in conversation, at which time he identified himself as Hank. During that brief encounter, the subject allegedly touched the juvenile in an inappropriate way and then left the parking lot. A second juvenile was able to take a photograph of that suspect. Fairfield police published the photo taken and spread it to the media throughout the state. Metz was identified as a suspect through those steps, and he turned himself into Fairfield police on August 8th. He was charged with fourth-degree sexual assault and risk of injury to a minor. He's scheduled to appear in court on August 17th. And Shelton police say an alert homeowner helped them nab a burglar. On Monday afternoon, police arrested 54-year-old John Rotz after they were contacted by a homeowner who reported a male walking onto the property, entering a detached garage, and driving off with a dirt bike which had been inside that garage. Officers located a scooter parked down the street from that reported burglary, and they were on scene investigating when Rotz returned to claim the scooter. Police were able to link him to the burglary and quickly recovered the stolen dirt bike, which was hidden in the woods. Rotz was given a $5,000 bond and is scheduled to appear in court on August 18th. And a fire Tuesday afternoon in Monroe damaged the exterior of a home. According to the Monroe Volunteer Fire Department, the fire happened around 2:30 in the afternoon at 601 Main Street. It was limited to the exterior of the building and was extinguished after arriving police officers used fire extinguishers and firefighters used one attack hose line. Fortunately, it did not spread inside and no one was hurt. And Darien police are investigating the theft of $240 worth of lottery tickets from the Darien Exxon on August 2nd. Workers at the gas station contacted police just after 3 p.m. to report that a man had taken the tickets and fled the store. The suspect was described as a white male, standing approximately 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighing about 240 pounds, with tattoos on both forearms. He fled the scene in a 4-door Honda sedan and was accompanied by a passenger. While reporting the stolen tickets to the Connecticut Lottery Bureau, police were informed that similar suspects had repeated the crime in Bethel, Trumbull, Norwalk, Westport, and Weston on the same day. The lottery tickets stolen from the Darien Exxon were reportedly cashed in for $100 at the Darien Golf Station on the Post Road. And the company Altice USA, which now owns Optimum, has announced that it will be shutting down its Shelton and Stratford call centers, resulting in nearly 600 employee layoffs. Altice acquired Cablevision for $17.7 billion earlier this year and said the reason for the office's closing and layoffs is advancements in technology have resulted in a decrease in call volume from its customers. It has been reported that those calls will now be handled by facilities in the Bronx, Long Island, and New Jersey. The employees will be able to keep their jobs through November, according to a company spokesman, and they will be offered severance and outplacement support. But switching gears, we're going to throw it back to Frank for one final look at the forecast. Frank?
Thank you, Kate. Again, mostly cloudy today and tomorrow with potential for scattered showers and thunderstorms running all the way until about midnight on Thursday night. Temperatures will be in the mid to high 80s today. It'll be a little bit cooler compared to what we've got coming. We could see numbers as high as 92 and 94 on Thursday and Friday with a real feel up around 105 degrees with humidity being over 80%. Should be clear and cool down a little bit Friday night, but it looks like it's going to be another hot weekend, Kate.
All right, Frank, thanks, I think. Well, we are going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but coming up at 12:30 today, CT Pulse with myself and Josh Fisher. We'll be breaking down more of those primary results, and of course, Nutmeg Sports coming up at 2 o'clock, so don't miss any of that. But we will be back for your coffee break tomorrow at 11. We'll see you then.